A Look at Seniors is underwritten with the generous support of the Wesley Community. Greater health, greater life, greater Saratoga.
The Wesley Community in Saratoga Springs, your choice for senior living. Experience the comforts of home at Woodlawn Commons and open a world of new possibilities. Enjoy meals in our restaurant, landscape gardens, and a full social calendar. Enriched offerings from medication assistance to help with daily living are available all in the same location. At Woodlawn, you'll have the confidence to live independently.
Welcome back, everybody, and welcome back to A Look at Seniors. As many of you know, this is our ongoing series where we're discussing everything seniors. And joining me today is my co-host, Lois Celeste, who is the Executive Director of the Saratoga Senior Center, and we have a very special guest today, Brian Nealon, who is the CEO of the Wesley Community right here in Saratoga Springs. So, Brian, welcome.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Lois, very nice to have you back again.
Good to be here.
I think probably second only to medical issues, housing has to be right up there. Lois, this is something you see every day, something we've talked a lot about. When people arrive at the center, they're either coming because they're coming from home, or they might be involved in some kind of assisted care or something like that. What are you seeing?
Well, people come in for independence, and people come to us looking for activities, looking for something in the community to meet people, to stay social. So yeah, housing is huge. Mm-hmm. Are they living independently? Are they living in senior housing sites throughout the community? And what can we do? We work very closely with Brian and the Wesley Community.
Sure.
And you know, we see people through transitions
right
into what is potentially needed as far as housing.
Now, Brian, when you talk about transition, right, that starts pretty much at my age. Hate to say it, but it is true. It starts at my age and really flows through to my parents' age.
Yes, it does.
And those needs change in that course of those 25 or 30 years. Now, Wesley has really been a fixture in this community for 45-something years. You've been CEO, you were telling me, for about the last 14 years?
Yes.
And you've been involved for 30-something years. So you've seen it all. What do you see as sort of the changing face in terms of the needs in housing and also the kind of people that you're seeing and what their demands are?
I think that what we're seeing today is really a shift in the generations that we're caring for as our primary customers. And you know, the greatest generation is winding down, while boomers are just on the edge of coming into a retirement community. Folks moving into a retirement community are generally doing that in their 70s, 80s. Some folks hold out until their 90s, but there's definitely generational change as the boomers get on our doorstep. And boomers are certainly expecting things that are very, very different than the greatest generation has.
You know what, I'd like to talk about this. You know, being a boomer myself, it you know, the sense of independence and you know, just the kinds of things that I think our generation and my dad is the greatest generation. You know, their needs were different. In a nursing home, there may be two people in a room. It almost seems now that if you know, my generation would say, I want my own space. You know,
absolutely.
Now, do you see this attitude?
We've evolved and had to evolve in senior support services. Wesley and the Senior Center work closely together on providing services for people to age in place. But then there's a different scenario comes up, a fall, a crisis, Alzheimer's, whatever it is. And so we've seen, and we've had to change programming around this, as regular day-to-day independent programming, as well as the housing, the need for housing or support services in the house, or when it comes to working with the senior housing sites.
Sure. Hey, Brian, so someone close to my age, going kicking and screaming, of course, but someone close to my age would want to move into the community on the campus, maybe in independent living. Obviously, you arrive now, but 20, 30 years from now, my needs might be nursing, you know, and in between assisted care, right? How do you handle that?
That's part of the charm of the Wesley community is that we frequently see people move in, many times couples, move onto the campus who are looking for independent housing, and we offer both market rate independent housing and subsidized independent housing. But they move on in at a point where they're relatively healthy. Should some type of medical event occur, if it's a single person, just to them. If it's a couple, perhaps one of them will have a medical event. That person can migrate to a higher level of care, be it assisted living, be it skilled nursing, and the other person can remain, the healthier member of the household can remain in housing, and they still live on the same campus. So that's part of the charm, is all of the services are on campus.
Yes,
and but yes.
You know what, and of course that gives people a sense of community. And,
Very
let's
much.
face it, another change in the generations is my generation, or soon-to-be generation, I'm going kicking and screaming, I'm telling
Yes,
you right now,
yeah.
is not going to Florida. As a matter of fact, we like the idea that there is a winter, and we like the idea that
Yes.
Saratoga is such a vibrant community. So I imagine that you're going to get quite a flood of people knocking on
That's
the door.
our expectation.
Yeah, I bet. One last question, Brian. A lot of talk right now on healthcare.
Yes.
And the changing face of healthcare. Pros and cons, I'm not discussing that, but what I am discussing is that, as an organization that does rely on federal agencies supporting
Yes.
whatever, how do you handle changes in administrations or healthcare?
Yeah, we have been open for 45 years. There has been a lot of change over that time. Our largest operation today, whether or not that's true in the future, remains that's a topic we can debate. But our largest operation is a nursing home, which requires or gains 75% of the revenue from Medicaid,
Whoa.
another 9% from Medicare. So we're very married to how the federal government moves in terms of funding for Medicaid and Medicare. That being said, we have dealt with changes over these 4.5 decades. We will continue to do that, but we will be watching very carefully any changes to the funding streams.
Well, you know what, just to sum this up, Lois and I have been spending a lot of time really trying to provide you with information about how to prepare for the future, whether it's for yourself or whether it's for your parents. And do yourself a favor, check the Wesley community here in Saratoga. They know everything about what we're talking about here. And, really look into the issue of housing and get prepared for the future, right?
And we tell people all the time, go and get on a list.
Yeah, right.
Get on the list. You don't know what can happen. You can change your mind. There's
right.
nothing locking you in. But go
Absolutely.
and get a tour, get on a list, and if something does happen, you're prepared. It's what we've been talking
That's
about
right.
this whole time. Get out in front of it, prepare a little bit. I highly recommend that.
Well, Brian, thank you very much for coming in. Great to see you again.
Great to see you,
All right.
Jesse. Lois, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Lois,
Brian.
great to see you. See you next week.
Absolutely.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.
A Look at Seniors is underwritten with the generous support of the Wesley Community. Greater health, greater life, greater Saratoga.
The Wesley Community in Saratoga Springs, your choice for senior living. Experience the comforts of home at Woodlawn Commons and open a world of new possibilities. Enjoy meals in our restaurant, landscape gardens, and a full social calendar. Enriched offerings from medication assistance to help with daily living are available all in the same location. At Woodlawn, you'll have the confidence to live independently.